I didn't go after her. Not when she slammed the door. Not when her footsteps faded down the hall. Not even when every part of me screamed to chase her, to fall at her feet, and beg her to explain. I just sat there in the quiet, and it was the quiet that shouted the loudest. People say silence is weakness, that if you don't fight for what you love, you never truly loved it. But they don't know what it feels like when you've already fought too hard, too long, and the one you're fighting for has already let your hand slip away. So I stayed, not because I didn't care, but because for once I cared enough about myself. She walked out on a Thursday. I remember because the spaghetti was still warm on the stove, untouched, the smell of basil still hanging in the air. She told me she needed space. But I knew better. There was someone else. Or maybe just the thought of someone else. A man who didn't leave socks on the floor. Who remembered anniversaries. Who didn't feel too much. She didn't have to say it. The way her eyes avoided mine as she zipped her bag was enough. The way she didn't shed a tear when she said goodbye. That told me everything. I gave her a small nod, a quiet final one. And in that moment, I chose peace over pride. She left. And I stayed. With the echoes, the memories, the ache that sat heavy in my chest like an unwelcome guest. The weeks after felt unreal. I drifted through the house like a ghost. Her coffee mug was still by the sink. Her perfume still lingered in the hallway. Her absence was louder than every argument we ever had. But I didn't reach out. I deleted her number. Not out of anger, but out of discipline. I didn't stalk her social media. I didn't ask our friends how she was. Instead, I tried to remember who I was before her. Slowly, piece by piece, I rebuilt. I went back to the gym. Started reading again. Found joy in little things. Joy that didn't need anyone's approval. And I learned something. Healing isn't loud either. It's patient, quiet, relentless. Exactly 91 days after she left, her name appeared on my screen again. Not a call. Not even a full message. Just a simple, "Hey, can we talk?" I stared at it. My heart still stumbled the way it used to when I saw her across a room. But this time it wasn't excitement. It was hesitation, guarded hope, love that had worn thin. I didn't reply right away. I let it sit there, the way she once let me sit in uncertainty. When I finally answered, I wrote, "If you want closure, come by. If it's something else, don't come unless you're sure." That night she showed up. When I opened the door, for a second, I barely recognized her. Not because she looked different, but because the fire in her eyes was gone. In its place was something else. Regret. Realization. Maybe both. She held a small envelope, clutching it like it carried everything she couldn't say. We didn't hug. Didn't speak. We just stared. Two strangers bound by too much history. She broke the silence first. "I made a mistake," she whispered. Her voice cracked like old vinyl, raw, fragile, human. "I thought I wanted more. I thought there was something better out there. But he wasn't you. None of them were you." I said nothing. She went on. "I convinced myself you didn't listen, that you didn't care. But it was me. I stopped seeing you. You were always there. I just refused to notice." Still, I stayed silent. She placed the envelope on the table. "This is everything I couldn't say before. Everything I've realized. You don't have to read it now, or ever. I just needed you to have it." Finally, I looked at her. Really looked. She wasn't the same woman who walked out. And I wasn't the same man she left behind. I cleared my throat. "I waited for you," I said quietly. "For a long time. Every night felt like a question with no answer. But eventually I stopped asking. Not because I stopped caring, but because I started healing." Her eyes filled with tears. "I'm too late, aren't I?" I paused. It would have been easy to lie. To pretend the pain never happened. To fall back into what was familiar. But I couldn't betray what I'd endured. "Yes," I said softly. "You are." The silence that followed wasn't angry. It wasn't bitter. It was just real. She nodded, biting her lip. "I just wanted you to know. You didn't lose me. I lost you." I nodded back. "And in losing you, I found me." She rose slowly and walked to the door. Before leaving, she glanced back one last time. "I hope you find someone who sees you the way I should have." I smiled. Not out of pride, but out of peace. "I already have," I whispered. "I see me now." And with that, she left. This time for good. No begging. No second chances. Just a goodbye wrapped in truth. Not every heartbreak is meant to be mended. Sometimes healing is born in silence. Sometimes the greatest love story is the one you write with yourself.